Are y'all doing okay? We're getting the questions done? Hands up, thumbs down, something. Give me a signal. I'm not sure what that is, all right? Is that Connor or Hunter? This confuses me. All right. It looked like that was thumbs up, so. We're almost done. Okay. Hopefully everybody's finished their questions. We're ready to, whoa, stop. Oh no, I restarted. Hold on. It's now going to go off again, sorry. Let me hit cancel. That will help. All right, Smire, are you ready to work us through Do Not Go Gentle Into That Good Night by Dylan Thomas?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Make sure, let me turn up my volume so I can hear you clearly. Okay. I guess we should start off with reading it.
Do not go gentle into that good night. Old age should burn and rave at close of day. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. The wise men at their end know dark is right, because their words had forked no lightning. They do not go gentle into that good night. Good men the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight, and learned too late they grieved it on its way. Do not go gentle into that good night. Grave men near death, who see with blinding sight, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying of the light. And you, my Father, there on the sad height, curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. Do not go gentle into that good night. Rage, rage against the dying of the light.
Okay, nice job with that. So, who's speaking into whom?
We said that it could be like a child speaking to a father.
Okay. And what does good night here signify, or the dying of the light?
Death.
Okay. So, number 2, is anybody else going to answer? Are we going to share? Okay. This poem, a desperate plea from the speaker to his declining father to rage against death, becomes especially dramatic and poignant in its choral lines. What effect does the repetition have on you guys?
It creates drama.
Okay. Why? Help me out with that.
It deepens like the sad feeling of what he's trying to get across to his father.
So you said you felt like it was a child talking to a father. Does it still feel like that now? Or does it feel like, has that changed any? Would a child really be saying this to a child be saying that to a father? What age is that child?
Son talking to his older father.
Okay, so would we say, give me some kind of an age range, because do you talk to your parents like this?
Maybe like 30s to 40s.
Okay, so the parents are getting much older. Okay, so I like that. It creates drama, because what does it imply that is happening to the parent, the father?
That he's trying to die.
Maybe not necessarily trying to die, but kind of giving up. You know, you're getting old, so you might as well die. I mean, and there are older folks that do that. Isn't that sad? Okay. As the American poet Robert Hass has said of the form's repetition, the effect is mesmerizing. It makes the music of the poem a kind of haunted waltz. It does have that 3/4 time feel to it, I will say that. Why is the form appropriate for this speaker and his audience? Do y'all know what a waltz is? It's you da da da. Everything's done in 3. So you go step 2 3, step 2 3, step 2 3. It's a very old-fashioned dance.
Is it appropriate because his father is like dancing with death?
Oh, that's a good point. I like that. Okay. Aren't we? You know, as you get older, death becomes much more your companion, I guess, in one sense. You know, even now, I'm only early 60s, but I look around. And I look at the obituaries. Isn't that disgusting that you read the obituaries? But I also, when someone my age dies, I become much more aware of my mortality. It's a little distressing, I'm going to be honest. So, you do feel like you're much closer to that final dance, okay? So on question 4, notice that it takes until the final stanza for the speaker to address his father directly, making a particular instance out of the general case. How does this heighten the tone and deepen the emotion expressed here?
I think it makes it like more suspenseful. We don't really know who he's talking about, and then when we see he's talking about his father, it makes it more personal.
Well, and if you look at it, it's just very general. The first one is do not go gentle in that good night. And then you have those 4 intervening stanzas, correct? And in them he addresses different groups and maybe how they feel as they are approaching death. Or with that, the wise men at their end know dark is right. Because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. What do you think that means? Because their words had forked no lightning, they do not go gentle into that good night. What do you think that means? Okay, do you guys, we'll just start with this. The first line says, the wise men at their end know dark is right. What is Thomas saying there? What is his persona saying there? What does at their end stand for?
Death, or when they're about to die.
Okay, and then you've also got no dark is right. We all should die. It's a logical progression. You're born and you live and then you die. There's a logic to it. It says, because their words, are we literally talking about words, or what else could words represent? Had forked no lightning.
Their life.
Say that again.
Their life.
What had their life not done?
It wasn't significant.
They have not done anything to cause something to happen, because their words, their works, their deeds, whatever actions they have done in their life had forked no lightning, had not accomplished whatever they wanted to accomplish. They do not go gentle into that good night. They don't want to, they're still trying to achieve, even as they get old. All right? So then you have good men, the last wave by, crying how bright their frail deeds might have danced in a green bay. We tried, okay? Rage, rage against the dying of the light. Look at the next one. Wild men who caught and sang the sun in flight. When you look when Thomas is alive, he lives 1914 to 1953, so you really have literally take this as flight. Airplanes have really started, this is a pun, taking off. I mean, the whole, flying around has become a big thing. When he says that, who caught and sang the sun in flight, all those crazy people in those planes, and learned too late, they grieved it's on its way, Do not go gentle into that good night. So he's talking about various groups of people. The last one, I like this. Did y'all get the pun? Grave men near death? Where do we all end up after we die? We end up in a grave. There's a little bit of humor there. Who see with blinding sight, blind, and look at that simile, blind eyes could blaze like meteors and be gay. Rage, rage against the dying light. It's really neat. It's a really interesting thing. I like this. I want to be one of these people. I don't want to just die. I want to rage against the dying of the light. I want to live as fully and as long as I possibly can. And then that last, so we look at interpret the poem. The mode of this syntax is imperative, a series of commands. Yet it is also a kind of prayer. Curse, bless me now with your fierce tears, I pray. What does that juxtaposition, a blessing and a curse, signify? We're staring at each other, aren't we? Me and Smyer. No idea?
No, ma'am.
Well, okay, you have these opposites. Curse me, bless me. And in my mind, remember, this is the stanza where he's directly addressing his father. He says, and you, my father, there on the sad height. You know, he's talking to his father, and he says, curse me, bless me, do something. Do something. Whether it's a curse or whether it's a blessing, do something. Don't go gentle into that good night. Don't just give up. That's what he's saying. So think of it as it's that urgency. You've got some kind of reaction. You know, emotion of it. You know, a lot of kids get in trouble doing bad things because they want attention. You know, you can get, because they're not getting it when they do good things. So whether it's a bad thing or a good thing, at least react to what I'm telling you. Show some life instead of kind of surfing into death, okay? You like that? Do you see that in there, what I'm saying? Do y'all see that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all right. So pretty good job. Not an easy poem. One of my favorites. You know, what can I say? There's something about it. It's easy to remember because of that unique three lines in the stanzas, and it's got that nice rhythm, and the repetition just really very, you know, it's like memorizing a song. All right, Lorenzo, you got a slightly different poem, but it's also talking about death, isn't it? To an athlete dying young. Who's going to read it for us? Quick points, nobody.
I'm sorry, I had it on a link, but I'm trying to open it again. 1 second.
Okay. It's by A.E. Housman.
The time you won your town the race, we cheered you through the marketplace. Man and boy stood cheering by, and home we brought you shoulder high. Today the road all runners come, shoulder high we bring you home. And set you at your threshold down, townsman of a stiller town. Smart lad to slip betimes away, from fields where glory does not stay. And early though the laurel grows, it withers quicker than a rose. Eyes the shady night has shut, cannot see the record cut, and silence sounds no worse than cheers after earth has stopped the ears. Now you will not swell the rout of lads that wore their honors out, runners whom renown outran, and the name died before the man. So set before its echoes fade the fleet foot on the seal of shade, and hold to the low lintel up the still defended challenge cup, and round that early laureled head will flock to gaze the strengthless dead, and find unwithered on its curls the garland briefer than a girl's.
So how many stanzas do you have in this poem?
7.
7, okay. And how many lines in each stanza?
4.
Okay, and what's the basic rhyme scheme? Do all 4 lines rhyme? Do the first and third? Do the second and the fourth? Do the first and second? You know, what kind of rhyme have we got going?
It's a 2-line rhyme. It's A B or A B B.
C C D D. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just briefly, does somebody want to summarize what is the poem about?
It's basically about the athlete achieving like his greatness in his prime. Like he hit his peak. Like he just exceeded expectation and was praised by everyone, but died before he could do it much more.
Okay. All right. So that's it. It's an athlete who dies young. Okay. All right, so let's look at the first question. What does Hausman accomplish in his description of the athlete as a smart, what is he trying to accomplish when he says, smart lad to slip betimes away?
He praises the athlete for dying before people forgot what he did.
You got it.
Because
Does this happen in Lorenzo that, when you have some kind of athletic event, the old graduates come back, kind of see what's going on, live their glory days? Does that happen in Smyer and in Crosbyton and Wilman Union?
Yes,
They
ma'am.
show up and, they're still hanging around, still trying to remember those good old high school football days, right? They don't do so
We
much
have people from other towns come here.
Yeah, it's kind of one of those unique Texas kind of things, maybe, or maybe it happens all over. All I can think of is what is it, Friday Night Lights? No, the other one, the other football movie, where the one guy, he keeps even going to the high school parties after the football games. You're like, you're 40 years old, dude. You need to stop it. Okay, question 2. How does the poet use details from the world of sports to move the poem along?
He uses it as an example to show his how to winning and how people react to a successful athlete.
Mm-hmm. And he also kind of keeps that same kind of running motif going through. That there's movement, that it's as if, if you look at the first stanza, it says they're taking him, they're carrying him on. Did you ever do that cross-arm carry where you and a partner cross your arms and then you can carry greater weight when you do that? When it talks about, we cheered you through the marketplace, and they've got your arms around your shoulders and it's like, hey, you're the hero. And then the second stanza, you have that interesting juxtaposition of them carrying the coffin to the cemetery. It's kind of cool. All right. Number 3, why do you think the poet chooses formal-sounding couplets for his elegy? Why is it very formal?
I think we think he's trying to keep the poem flowing in a way to make the athlete seem as distinguished as possible, to make him as glorified as the town sees him.
Okay. That sounds good. I kind of like that. Does the diction, the word choice selected that he uses, sound as formal as the rhyme scheme? What is the speaker's relationship to the athlete? Does it sound like a young man speaking or an older man speaking?
It sounds like an older man, how he saw the younger.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So, do you think they're related in any way?
No, I think the narrator's more an onlooker, like on the sidelines. Maybe even at one point achieved greatness himself, but later on in life he couldn't reach that peak again.
Okay.
And now he sees that the athlete, died in enough time. Like he understands the struggle.
That this is somebody who has not ever attained. I like that point. This is someone who's never managed to match the achievements of their youth. When your physical, perfection is much easier to reach when you're young, it's a lot harder to be, to have that physical or excellence once you pass. You have to move into other areas to achieve that. All right, so question 5 says, the rhyme and the diction together create a certain effect, and the speaker offers comfort. Does the attitude lend distance to the poem or make it seem more sympathetic? And in what ways? Is he really sad that the young man has died?
Well, the narrator, he gives comfort in the sense that the athlete should be proud of what he accomplished and that he left such a glorious legacy behind. Mm-hmm. But then he also praises him for dying before anyone forgot who he was, and before they could forget the image of his greatness.
Okay, good point.
But other than that, he doesn't really offer so much, quote unquote sympathy, but instead gives examples of like what would happen if the athlete had kept living. People would forgot about him. People would have moved on and forgot who he was.
Good. I like that. That's good. So remember we did on My First Son in Ben Johnson's about the 7-year-old boy who's died. In what ways are they similar?
Hold on, we're pulling it up.
Okay. Are y'all using an e-text?
We have like a group discussion where we were talking about them all together, and we all forgot where we put our tab for the poem, so we're trying to pull it up real quick.
Okay. I just have to flip pages,
In both poems, they're remorseful that the athlete died and the boy died, but they're accepting of the time that they had while they were here.
Okay. So yeah, I think it's an interesting comparison between those two poems. Nice job, Lorenzo. Okay, Crosbyton, I'm going to have you read the first 3 stanzas, and then I'll have somebody at Wellman Union finish it for Seamus Haney and midterm break.
I sat all morning in the college sick bay, counting bells knelling classes to a close. At 2 o'clock our neighbors drove me home. In the porch I met my father crying. He had always taken funerals in his stride, and big Jim Evans saying it was a hard blow. The baby cooed and laughed and rocked the pram when I came in, and I was embarrassed by old men standing up to shake my hand.
Okay, Wellman Union, take over.
And tell me they were sorry for my trouble. Whispers informed strangers I was the eldest, away at school as my mother held my hand, and in hers and coughed out angry tearless sighs. At 10 o'clock the ambulance arrived, with the corpse stanched and bandaged by the nurses. Next morning I went up into the room. Snowdrops and candles soothed the bedside. I saw him, for the first time in 6 weeks, paler now, wearing a poppy bruise on the left temple. He lay in the 4-foot box as in a cot. No gaudy scars, the bumper knocked him clear. A 4-foot box, a foot for every year.
Okay, so who wants to quickly tell me what is the poem about?
It's about a college student who comes home for a funeral for what I think is his little brother.
Okay. And I'm going to just give you a heads up. This is Seamus Haney speaking. This indeed happened to his family. Okay. And don't think of it as college in the sense of that's the next thing you all are going to go on to. Think of it as being in high school like you are, more or less at this time, okay? So question 1. Oh, how many stanzas are there?
Seven.
You got to count that last line as the 8th stanza, okay? Even if it's only one word. All right. And does it have a regular rhyme going on at all?
No, ma'am.
I am struck though by there's one significant rhyme, and that's the last 2 lines. And you become very aware of it because all of a sudden, particularly by the phrasing on that last line, that kind of reinforces it, doesn't it? Okay. So how much do we learn about the speaker's life in this poem?
We don't learn a lot, but we do learn that about this certain period when his brother had died and he was coming to his funeral.
And that this is a society where, if you could afford it, you send your children away to school. Instead of, them going to high school and coming home, they're gone. So they only come at certain points. And, it's a little bit different. But we do get some neighbors. You meet some neighbors and some things like that. And how they react to it. And do you think he loved his little brother?
I think he did. He talks about being in the college sick bay, which means he's probably really upset about everything.
He's been pulled out of class. And is he really talking about a midterm break? Or is this something this is an unplanned for break? Do you get the title, what the title's going on with in there? That it's not really like spring break coming up for all of us in a week and a half. Yeah, whoop whoop, right? We're all excited, right? Okay. Now this midterm break is more of a forced break because of this accident. So why do you think Haney, employs such a thorough amount of narrative detail in this elegy? Why do we get all this detail?
Because he's the one telling the story. It was a personal experience.
And do you have, I don't know if any of you have ever been told somebody has died. And I have a hard time with this poem. I have a hard time reading this poem out loud. It makes me sad. I want to cry. I've got tears in my eyes just saying that. But I can remember when I was told that my father had died. And I very clearly remember the events of that morning. Very much so. That I could write about it in detail. So maybe that's one way. And why would you, writing this down and doing this poem, what might it help Haney to do?
Cope with it.
Yeah, you deal with your grief in a way. And this is written in 1939. Well, it says it's got born 1939. He writes it in 1966, so it's been several years. If it happens when the boy is 4, and he did, again, I said this is autobiographical, that it's kind of, maybe an opportunity to shed that grief finally. So look at the last question. How does the final line of the poem contrast with the detail of the preceding lines?
It's less detailed because it doesn't have 3 lines to describe what's going on.
Okay. But look, how effective is that single line?
And there are no adjectives in the last line.
Yes, there are. What do you think for and foot are? That's adjectives. It describes the box, doesn't it? And are y'all aware that A, N, and V are also adjectives? I just thought I'd throw that in there, okay? But look at that parallel structure, a 4-foot box, a foot for every year. The graphicness of that description. That, in my mind, what that does is by saying the box was the same length of his life, just a very short time, very tragic, and very stark. It makes the reality of it so much more effective, I think. We have skipped one poem. I think y'all did a pretty good job instead of me having to do all the work today. We haven't done Sade and Body, have we? I made a note here that we still needed to do it. Flip Sade and Body. It's on page 812 in the textbook. Okay. By Gwendolyn Brooks. And I'll do this one since you guys had to do the other ones. And I'll do it very quickly. Maud went to college. Sadie stayed home. Sadie scraped life with a fine-tooth comb. She didn't leave a tangle in. Her comb found every strand. Sadie was one of the
Miss Thompson?
livingest chips. Yeah.
We've
Trying to
already
get
read
to the
that
point.
poem.
Huh? We did do it?
Yes, we've already done it.
Okay, awesome. Then I'll forget that. Okay, so what do you think? Did you like having to do the poems on do them and answer the questions instead of me doing all the work? I'm working on an Achieve assignment. It's probably going to be a grammar, punctuation, and mechanics one because the stuff that's tied to this textbook doesn't always fit what we're reading. So, and I've been talking to them about that. And it's probably going to be over semicolons, so it'll just be a refresher. It's not going to be super long. I'll open it up today, probably later on today, in the range of maybe before 1 o'clock. And you'll just have to have it done by Friday. And it'll probably be probably just be worth about 25 points, okay? Monday, we're going to start sonnets. All of those that you see are sonnets for Monday. And then we'll go out of sonnets again. But I always feel like we need to cover sonnets because that's another one of those poetical forms that gets asked on a lot of game shows. So that's what's coming up. So you guys have a good weekend, all right?
Thank you, you too.
That's all I got for today. But just remember, there'll be a Connect assignment over semicolons. If I have enough time, I'll set it up right now between this class and my next one, okay? So, cool. That went well. I need to talk less, obviously. Okay. And so the other thing to think about is the poetry project coming up. How many lines do you have to have in the poems that you select from the textbook? Minimum number of lines.
8.
Okay. I'm holding up the fingers. It's not on the assignment page. It's been said several times, so hang on to that, okay? What the heck is going on? I don't even know that is not what I was doing. There's something strange happening in here. I'm working my way through them. They're gone. Okay. That was not what I was after. That is not what I was after by any means. Let's go back home.